You are listening to the Mountainside Podcast, and joining us in studio is former president and active president of American Bowman Club. Scott Enderich is joining us alongside Daniel Maldonado. This was a great episode. We dove all over the place. These two guys have played an integral part over many years, making American Bowman the premier archery range in the United States, and maybe even, quite frankly, the world. This might be one of my favorite places on earth, and I'm honored and privileged to be a private member. It was great having these guys in studio, and I hope that you enjoy our conversation. You like it loud, dude.
Right.
Yeah. I think this is the first time I've had a former president and a president on the Mountainside. So stoked to have you guys in here.
Weird.
Stoked to be on here.
Let's just dive in. I mean, American Bowman fanatics, myself included, and I think I'm speaking for you guys, but I'm pretty sure that you guys are too, with as much time as you've invested in the most premier, badass archery range that I've been to in North America, and I've been to quite a few. But American Bowman holds a special spot in my heart. I got to shoot on the old one when I was a kid, back when it was like closer to Conifer, Windy Point, yeah. And I remember it then, but there's something about the new one, and I guess it's not new. How long has it been in Bailey?
7 years now.
Really?
Because we just hit 6 was my last year as president, so 7 was Dan's first year. Because we still have 8 more years there.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we just signed the lease for that.
That was one of my questions. I was like, how long can we keep this going before?
Well, the biggest thing is the state loves us because we take such good care of the land.
Yeah.
And the only other real thing they can do with it is an ag lease. And we pay them way more than an ag lease will ever be worth. So
should we edit that part out? So
no.
Okay.
We're paying for the land, and we have no problem paying for that. And
I just don't want anybody else to swoop in there. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think we do so much work on that land too that it's just
that's the thing. Like every time I'm there, it's improved. Whether it's shooting terrain or you guys have set up targets, like it's not always the same shoot. It's not always like you go to some of these 3D courses, and they tend to just have the same thing. Maybe a target changes, but you're shooting from the same pins. You're walking the same way on the course. It just gets kind of boring.
I think that's what makes us so unique is every year we change it, and every year we make it a little more difficult or just technical. It just makes it so much fun, I think.
Well, and you look at other places that they've set up so many permanent structures along their shooting area that it's hard for them to change, and that's one thing that Bowman really hasn't done. We've got a couple permanent things, but I mean, I would take the ladder stand down and no problem.
Yeah, totally. I think the lay of the land too is it's just you can do so much with it. Cliff shots, uphill shots, downhill shots, through the trees.
It's truly in the mountains. Like for people that haven't experienced Colorado or don't know about American Bowman, and I would guess that, I mean, a ton of our audience is from around the world, right? And I don't know, have you guys ever had anybody just show up and be like, hey, can I shoot the course? Or like, how does that work with us promoting it on podcasts and stuff? Because it is a private club.
There were definitely people who would hit me up every once in a while and, hey, can I get a day pass? Can I go do this? And if they were local people, usually I'd be like, you know what? Why don't you come shoot it with me? You can be my guest. And then if you decide you like it and want to be here, you can become a member. Because that's how we ended up meeting.
And it's very affordable to become a member.
Oh, yeah.
Are there still spaces available?
There is.
Really?
I think we're
That's shocking to me.
About 135 members. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's still space available.
I feel so blessed and fortunate to be a part and a member of that space. Just for the sheer fact, like, it's kind of like my getaway from everything. Like, I'm so integrated with technology now, and it's given me all of this, and I'm so grateful for all that. But I'm more grateful for the disconnect that I get. And funny enough, my cell phone doesn't work up there, maybe like in one spot or something. So it's like when I go up there, it's just I'm kind of disconnected. It's far enough off of a highway or something, like you really don't hear anything. There's no ambient noise unless there's a Sawyer down there like cleaning the property or something. Like,
Well, and you're lucky because you end up going on the weekdays. There's
course,
no one
dude.
there.
Oh, it's the best. On
yeah,
the
it's
weekday.
very seldom that I run into somebody, to the point where I started was like, you know what? I should take my inReach, because when I'm traversing to whatever 12 or 14, whatever pin that is with that cliff shot, I was like, if I fall off this, who knows? Somebody might not come through until 8, 9 o'clock at night.
later.
I don't know. I see the sign-in book, which I think is really cool too, because you can kind of see who's been there and like,
Who's
dude,
actually showing up?
yeah, I didn't get enough time in last year. My biggest goal of 2025 is to fucking
Shoot a lot.
shoot a lot more, and I need it too. This hunting season, I learned that the hard way. Yeah. It's the closest thing that I've found to hunting, really, because I think what makes it unique as well to me, like some of these other courses that you go to, they tend to just have like these wide open shots at 3D targets. It's fun. Like, don't get me wrong. You guys are such assholes and true bow hunters. There's times where I'm like, really, I got to get down on my knees if I want to, like, I mean, you could obviously step around the pin or whatever, but if you're trying to shoot it like intentionally how the course is set up, or you're shooting against somebody, you should shoot from the stakes, right? You should have one foot on the stake. I think isn't that the kind of the rule? Or
Yeah,
like,
it should be the forward foot on the stake, so your back foot.
oh,
is
the
farther
forward
back.
foot. Oh, okay. Didn't know that. All right,
on.
learned something new. I was
that
with my
extra
back
foot.
foot, dude. Well, it depends. Like some of those spots, like you either got to get on your knees or
It
you
just
know, you're
creates
shooting.
a real hunting scenario, you know?
Yeah, which makes you a better bow hunter.
Totally.
By the way, have you found your arrow by the goat yet?
No, did you find it?
I don't have to look for that.
I
arrow.
was
I
bummed-
actually hit the goat usually.
Yeah. I was bummed that I didn't. We didn't get that on film. That was one thing that I didn't get. But that was a fun fucking day, man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Sarah's already hit me back up. She's like, "Are we doing that again when I come out this year?" I was like,
Just let me know. I'll sell her another bow.
"Yeah, that was crazy."
Yeah, she borrowed my bow. She took it to Luke's, and then she ended up like hitting me up, like, "What's the specs on this bow and everything?" I'm like, "Well, I'll sell it to you. $1,200. It can fly home in your bag." And she was like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I definitely I was just throwing it out there, and I ended up I had to shoot in 2 weeks, and I ended up finding a bow in a week and freaking shooting that thing at the.
You're crazy.
So
dude.
you sold her a bow.
I sold her a bow,
and then bought
and then
a
I
bow.
shot Western Hunt Fest.
Holy cow!
Sarah, see
with
if
a
you
bow
can
that I
pull
did in a
up.
week.
Go to our YouTube channel and pull up On the Mountainside. Oh, there's actually a little trailer to it right there. Was that on your pitch, Scott? Damn, dude. Fucking top row, bro.
Right there. Shows how much I post
loyalty,
Instagram.
bro. Loyalty. Yeah, this was so cool, man. This was an awesome day, and we just happened to run into you up there, which is very unusual. Well, not unusual for me to see you at American Bowman, but
It was a random weekday.
Yeah.
And I had off and was just running out there shooting.
yeah, it worked out perfect, man.
I ain't gonna lie. I think I text Scott and I was like, "Dude, what's up? Why didn't you hit me up?" And he's like, "Dude, I was just out
I
there."
am the president. What the fuck? Yeah.
He was like, "We were just out there, and it just happened." And I was like, "Dude, next time."
No, well, definitely. I'd love to do it. Like I had so many people after we released this episode, which is really cool. Go to YouTube and watch it. Because it helps us out. It's something new that I'm doing. This was the first episode, and I kind of wanted to showcase American Bowman and how much it means to me. And then having a badass female like Sarah that shot that. What did she shoot? Like a 200 that day or something? Or close
It
to
was
it.
insane.
She's a beast.
She almost doubled what I shot.
She smoked me.
And
I mean,
I think she had you by a good 40, 50 points.
yeah, I lost only one arrow that day. But man, it was cool to like bring the drone, and shout out to everybody that helped me out on that, because that was the first time I had taken on an endeavor like, hey, we're going to take a film crew and go do this. And Michael, my film guy, fucking crushed it. The editors crushed it. So much to the point that people are like hitting me up. They're like, dude, how come I didn't get invited? Or like, why? How do I get on the course, or how do we go shoot? And I'm just like, contact the guys at American Bowman, watch the schedule. Like,
Yeah.
it's a good spot, man.
Yeah, no, they crushed that video. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is, there's quite a few public shoots, and you just released a schedule for American Bowman too.
Yeah, I just released a schedule. There's quite a few public shoots. Or any of the American Bowman shoots are open to the public. They just got to come pay the fee.
Right.
And once you do that, you're almost hooked.
You can win some prize money too, right? Isn't that a lot of them?
We do have a couple of shoots. I mean, we're running back best of the best. So Sarah will probably be back for that because she competes in that.
Shout out to Luke Cadillo too and Gladiators Unleashed. Like, go and listen to that podcast. It's a gut buster. And what they do, I'm a little jealous of the best deal, but I'm not really trying to be in the hunting space, I guess. Like, you
just got to come out for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should come out for it. It sucks because is it in June this year?
It's in, June 7th and 8th.
Okay, dude, I got so much going on in June.
Oh, come on.
No, I think I'm gonna make sure that I'm here because like I have some buddies that are out with Metallica right now. Ooh. So that's like right around then. When's the shoot at American Bowman?
American Bowman shoot is June 28th. And that'll be...
Okay, fuck. I'm going to have to take like the whole month of June off.
That's just going to be an archery month.
End of July, we have Western Hunt Fest again. So it's going to be heavy
cool.
schedule this year. I mean, everything we run at the, there is just great group of people. It's always awesome.
Yeah, anybody that I ran into up there is just like fucking awesome. It's a good group of guys and girls and just badass people that
I think that's
are
one
like-minded.
Of the benefits. Yeah, I've met so many amazing people and just made so many connections. That's one of the best things about it.
You don't have to be a world-class bow hunter to go up there either. I mean, you can still go up there and enjoy.
You don't even have to hunt.
Yeah.
If you just want to go shoot your bow, it's,
Scott always roasts me for this, but I enjoy going there more than I enjoy hunting.
I still don't get it.
I just enjoy shooting my bow, man.
Come on, man. There is nothing like sitting in the middle of the woods with your bow next to you, waiting for that next opportunity.
I honestly, this is going to sound pussy as shit, but I do not like killing stuff. I got a big heart, man.
I love to kill stuff, but I will say, I've had some of those hunting seasons where I'm like, I'm just ready for this to end so I can go shoot at Bowman. Because then I'm hitting 40 targets guaranteed. But
actually get a fling and arrow.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like you said earlier, it's kind of like a meditative, I can just let go of hunting and spend some time shooting and get ready for next year. You know?
I love the fact that you can kind of gauge your progress by scoring it and just not only that, it really gets me in shape. And I have fun doing it much more than just throwing on the pack and hiking some trail around here, which don't get me wrong. We live in the most beautiful place in the world, I think, being on all these trails and stuff, but going there and actually shooting and then throwing on the pack and it's a workout.
It breaks it up.
Yeah,
it is. That blue course this year, I mean, everybody that shot it was like, wow, that was not only tough shots, but it was a workout.
Yeah.
You had to be prepared for that.
Well, damn, man, my original intention was to go shoot with you guys and then come in and record, but the schedule's been so crazy. So we'll just have to...
Dark too early, too.
Yeah. We have so little light.
I think today it was 5 o'clock. Sunset was the, latest so far.
It's crazy. Yeah, no, it's too early, man. Yeah, we'll definitely get out and shoot, though, once the weather warms up a little bit, or if you guys get a day off, man, I'd love to go up there with both of you guys.
Yeah, I'll make a day off to go shoot with you guys.
I got some, I got some people too that really want to go up there that we'll talk about off mic, but it could be a cool thing and maybe a good time to bring another film crew up because they're cool people. So,
sweet,
yeah,
nice,
be good for the club and everybody. What is the biggest challenge to having American Bowman, you being a former president of it, Scott, and you, Dan, now being the active president? What's the biggest challenges as far as, is it money or what keeps it going, man? Because it just seems like it's effortless, but I know that it's not because I know how much time you guys put into fixing targets and the work parties and just it's kind of a collective community type thing.
Me and Dan were actually just talking about this. I think it's more the volunteer side of things, finding the people who are willing to put in the work and help out and run this club.
I never go to those things, dude.
Well, and it's not just work parties. Work parties, we usually have people there that can do it, but it's the minds. Dan asked me again to be a range captain because it's hard to set up a course that people are going to look at and go, oh, that was challenging. And actually have that mindset to look at a course and go, okay, let's do this shot. Because most people just walk around it and go, oh, this is a really cool shot. You don't realize we have almost 50 acres there that is blank when we start. And it's like, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to route this? How are we going to make sure that it's A, safe, B, shootable, and C, still enjoyable?
Yeah, no, that's probably the biggest challenge is safety, right? Like,
Yeah.
because you're cruising around, people are throwing arrows around. Like, that's another thing that I think is kind of a misconception with what you guys do there is how safe it actually is and how safe it's and thought out it's set up in that aspect and the rules and regulations that go into it.
Put a ton of time into that.
Yeah. I think that you guys have done an incredible job with that. But then, like you said, man, like some of those shots, like shooting across the creek in a mountain lion, like, you know, you're probably, 100 feet in elevation shooting across to another 100 feet, you know, like a straight shot. But it just seems so much further. And like, you get into those cliff shots and you're like, really? I need to shoot this with my 20-yard pin? Like,
come on.
And then you roll up and you got to shoot, you know, a little gopher target or something from 4 feet. And I'm like, what do I do now? Like, I've never been put in this scenario. So it does make you a better archer for sure.
Yeah.
Shooting that.
I think we do put a lot of time, though, in setting those up. I know last year I was there for just days planning and what are we going to do and, you know, asking Scott, what do you think about this shot? And I think last year's courses turned out great, and this year is going to be even better.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I need to get up there. Is the course open right now?
It is. It is.
Okay.
The red course is open, and then we'll have the blue course up in for the end of April.
I would say let's go tomorrow. It's supposed to be like 50 degrees, but I don't think I can get out.
Especially,
I definitely cannot get out.
I'm feeling the sore throat coming on.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a amazing place with amazing people. What because you guys have went and shot like some other courses and stuff and been to some of these big archery events like TAC and stuff like that. How is it comparable to those in your guys' mind? Like,
I think we have a little bit more realistic shots. I mean, I love TAC. I go to TAC every year, but I mean, some of those 120-yard shot, you know, they're fun, and we do some shots like that at the course, not that far, but
right.
I don't know. I just feel like our setup is so unique, and we change it every year that it just sets us apart.
Well, and that's the other thing is you look at a lot of the actual local courses that are set up year round, they don't change. There is almost no course that changes constantly. I think Game Lines and Boulder changes.
Okay.
And then I
don't think I've ever shot that.
Yeah, and then I think Fort Collins changes. But other than that, I think most of them just stay the same.
One thing that I think is really cool that you guys have kind of kept there too is like some of these courses you go on, next thing you know, you're shooting at like a rhino target or a fucking alligator or something. You're like, I'm in the Rocky Mountains, man. Like, it's cool, like, for kids and stuff, but you guys do have some of that just on the normal flat range, right? Or the warm-up range, whatever you call it. But I love the fact that you guys have kept it kind of that Western hunt, North American wildlife for the most part. Like 95% of it is North American.
About 95. I think we threw a velociraptor on one of the holes.
Did you? Hell yeah. Let's go. I mean, that's great for the kids, right? And
Totally.
I think we need that more now than ever because kids are just losing touch with, I mean, my own kids included. Like we were just talking about our sons. Do you have kids, Dan?
I do. My kids are grown though, man.
Are they?
Yeah,
they're gone. Huh?
Yeah. They're grown and doing their own thing.
Yeah. Well, so you know though. Like,
totally.
And unless you have grown up in the 1970s, you grew up in the video game era, right? Like,
Yeah.
They've just advanced so much now. But I think to like get kids off of screens or anything like that, it has to be something fun and super interesting for them to do, you know, like a sport or something like that. Because, and even myself, like you just kind of get integrated with like, oh shit, I got to check my email. I got to check the bank account. Like everything that you do, you pay bills on your phone, you fucking, you know, social media. Yeah. If you're trying to run a business, there's nothing better than walking around with a supercomputer in your fucking pocket everywhere that you go, you know? And then you start relying on it to find navigation. I even use it at American Bowman to score
your
my shoot, right? Like, but that's the only thing it works
Who's
for.
going to get a piece of paper and a pencil out every shot?
I just need to go shoot with you every time because you always score it.
Right?
That's my favorite thing about shooting with Scott.
He just scores every time.
Yeah.
And the shit that he gives me, it keeps me honest.
I think one of the best shoots we have is we have a kids shoot every year, and it brings in a lot of kids that have never shot a bow, and you'll see that they'll kind of shy away, and once they get it in their hand, and they are stuck. And then we have the floating, the
Aerial.
Aerial targets
Oh,
from
sweet.
MTS. And the kids, it's like clay pigeons with a bow. And it really, I think it helps bring kids into it and gets them off the phone.
Yeah. And you guys do like, isn't 4-H up there like doing
4-H
shoots?
is. Yeah. So I'm one of the coaches for 4-H.
Oh, nice.
And we hold their events every week. So they'll
And then
come up.
Colorado Parks and Wildlife does some like shoots up there too, like a youth shoot or something, don't they?
They help
typically?
us with the youth shoot.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's super awesome, man. Like, I think as much as we can do that, and as much as like, even if you as a parent haven't experienced that, there's no better way to experience it than through your kids and let them experience it, right?
Well, and half the time we end up having parents that they just brought their kids because they thought it would be a fun time, and the parents end up joining in and shooting a bow for the first time too.
Man.
So it's
great.
Creating addicts, man. It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
it's like a drug dealer, you know? The first one's free, dude.
Now you got to go to an archery shop.
Yeah, and that's where it gets expensive, right?
Oh yeah.
So you're shooting traditional,
Oh yeah.
and are you a compound?
I'm
guy?
compound, yeah.
Okay.
I'd love to
Yeah.
try traditional, but I'm just compound.
I just don't. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I have a traditional bow. I have a nice recurve, and I've shot it before. But to me, there's something, I don't know. I just enjoy the compound aspect. I enjoy knowing where my arrow is going to go most of the time.
Yeah.
and I still don't know. You know what I mean? But I think it's just as much as I travel and stuff. I like. How often do you shoot, Scott? You shoot pretty damn good.
I used to shoot quite a bit.
Yeah.
I've been kind of slacking lately, but I mean, we went out a couple weeks ago and I still put up 120, 130 points.
That's awesome.
So I still shot fairly well.
Yeah.
Still beat a couple guys with compounds. So.
I mean, even that being said, man, we used to do a shot called the Polar Bear Challenge, and it's on this like miniature polar
Oh, I
bear
know
from
exactly
like
what target you're talking.
shooting like 110 yards, and he always hits it, man. It's nuts.
Right. I can't tell my story when I was shooting last time I was up there. I'll have to tell you off mic. I don't want to get you guys in trouble, but no, man, it's to put in that time, and like, it's crazy. Like, living in Colorado, we have the best coaches in the world, or some of them right here, you know, like Tom Klum and the guys at Rocky Mountain Specialty Gear. Like, it's the hands down the best traditional bow shop you're going to find in the world.
By far.
He has the second largest bow shop in the nation
Really?
as
For
far
traditional.
as traditional goes.
Yeah.
Second largest.
It's crazy to just go in there and just look at the bows. I can get stuck in there for hours.
nuts.
And then I start talking to Tom, and then you talk to Danny, and then you talk to, you know, whoever else is there. Shout out to everybody that works there. The staff is incredible, from Colt to, I mean, Jerry, like just all those guys are just fucking salt of the earth.
Yeah, it's
man.
a great group of people.
Yeah.
Great group.
And that's no knock on like any other. There's a ton of other archery shops in town
Well, I
too.
mean,
That
what
are,
you still got No Limits with Phil Mendoza too.
Phil's a great
and
dude.
That guy is a shooter too.
And that's a cool place. That's a different type of place because they do have a little like 3D outdoor course. It's much more than just your polished concrete range. And then they have like, have you ever shot that video shoot thing that they got upstairs?
I have not shot it there, but I've definitely shot a video thing.
Have you shot
I
that?
haven't. I want to do that so bad.
Let's go do that, man. That would be cool too. It's cool. It's a little bit different, but like, you know, you have to put a special field tip on your bow, and then I think where it hits the screen or whatever is kind of how it's scored.
Yeah.
But it's real life scenarios, you know, like there's an elk walking through the trees, and you kind of have to time your shot, and
That's
if
pretty
you
sweet.
take too long, it'll just be like, fuck, you failed, you know, like give you a big red
You
axe.
suck.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I shot it, but it's cool, man. It's a cool experience. So like to have all those resources around us, not only American Bowman, like all the incredible pro shops that we have here. And, Bear Creek's another one.
Bear
that's
Creek's great.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
They're incredible people there. So, yeah, man, we're so lucky. How long have you guys been involved at American Bowman? Like whether it was membership or...
Go ahead, Scott.
So I've been with American Bowman, I think it's now like 5 years.
Okay.
So, and then Dan wasn't too much farther behind me.
I'm like 4.5.
Yeah.
Right on.
So,
Yeah.
I think I was still vice president when you joined.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
It's something that I think anybody should experience, and I encourage anybody to experience archery at least. Like you don't have to hunt, you don't have to.
Don't.
Just go into a bow shop, man. Like there's so many nice people, there's so many badass spots here, and there's really around the country, man. Like archery is so therapeutic for me. Like it does so much for me. I'm not a guy to like go sit on a pillow and meditate. Like I'll drive myself nuts, dude. You know what I mean? Like there's two ways that I kind of get out aggression, I guess, or get into that meditative state. And one is going to the gym or doing something physically hard. But then like shooting my bow is just different because it's that quietness. If I'm, lining up my sight picture and then, putting the pin on the target, adjusting the sight, doing the whole 9 and going through all that, and then you start going through the shot sequence and my mantra, there's nothing else to think about.
What is your mantra?
Really? We're getting that personal?
Yeah. We're going to go for this.
Okay. So to take it way back, I used to just shoot my first compound bow. I shot fingers, right?
Oh,
Wow.
Which was crazy. I was like, I think I was 12 or 13 years old, and that's how my uncles were hunting with compounds then. Like there wasn't all this technology. I don't even know if there was releases like 30
I
years
remember the
ago.
first time I shot a compound, there definitely wasn't a release.
Yeah, a release was like this super like foreign thing. And then there was a bunch of purists that were like, "Oh, you're shooting with a release." You know what I mean? Just kind of like there is on like it would be like shooting a traditional bow with a release almost.
I think that's sacrilege. I don't think anyone does that.
Have you ever seen anybody do that? I don't think that I have.
No, I haven't.
Yeah. No, but so I started shooting my first compound. I shot fingers, which was totally, and I'm sure I was totally doing it wrong. And this was like 1984 or 6 or something like that.
There was no internet to teach you.
No, there was no Aaron Snyder podcast. There was no fucking, where they start talking about arrow veins, and for 2 hours they'll have a conversation about knock
Veins.
Yeah, veins and helix and fucking shit that I can't even pronounce. Like they break down like they're true archery nerds, right? And I just want to go shoot my bow. Like that's always been like I want to shoot my bow. I want to be accurate. I want to kick Scott's ass on the course. I want to kick your ass on the course.
You know what?
As much as I can.
You grab
It never
that
happens.
recurve. Let's go play.
No. But I do get to shoot at the closer stakes then, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you play at the same exact stakes.
Maybe not an American Bowman. I don't have that amount of money to waste in arrows. But yeah, so I started out there, and then for years, I took a long break from that because my career didn't really allow me to bow hunt. Like once I started rock and roll touring and I was having so much fun doing that, like hunting was just it was just kind of a backburnered thing, man. Like my career took off. I was like, I can't give this up. And in that industry, when you're young and cutting your teeth, you can't say no. So you just like to be in people's faces as much as you can in different productions and production managers and stuff like that. It's really important to stay on that. So even when I was coming back here to visit, there was no way I could take a month off in September. Absolutely no way. Or even a week, right? Like that's prime, outdoor concerts, stadiums, arenas, people are out doing shit. They're attending concerts, right? So I was just constantly on the road, and if I did come back, it would be like I would go into hunting camp or something. So there was like a 20-year period in there where I didn't really hunt at all. Like,
Damn.
So I kind of had to like relearn, a little bit. And when I got back into it, I still had bows. I'd still shot a little bit. I had a recurve that I was shooting. just for the sheer fact, but I wasn't shooting like a whole lot because you can't, it's hard enough like living out of a tour bus. And I was on a tour bus, like, or an airplane or a fucking airport, like probably at least 250 days out of the year minimum. Like it was crazy. And some years I was like, I don't even know why I paid rent then, just so I had a place to like kind of call home, right? A place where I could keep a bow, really, because that's all that I really kept. And then, you know, a spot to park the beach cruiser or whatever, right? I was living in Southern California. I'm so glad I'm not there right now. But anyways, I took like a long break. And one of the reasons I moved back to Colorado was we had kids. I loved living in Southern California. I loved the beach life, the beach vibe, the shows, the women. I met my wife there, like just amazing place, right? Amazing place to be a young single guy or be a young single or a young couple, right? Like there's so much to do. There's so much to see if you enjoy that beach life.
Yeah.
But Colorado, the mountains always held like a special spot in my heart. But at 18 or 19, I just wanted to get out of here. And I'm so fortunate that I had a ton of hunting experience from, God, man, really since like 5 or 6 years old. I mean, that's what my family did. They didn't have a whole lot of money. Like if we wanted meat in the freezer, we had to hunt. And like my uncles were just avid archery, like bow hunters. That's why I shot at Windy Point, 30 years ago or something when American Bowman was there.
Yeah.
Shooting a compound with fingers, man, it's crazy.
Rambo style.
Yeah, it was totally. And then you have all those 1980s movies like Rambo, right? Like
got me into it.
It was honestly, it was like, okay, I want a compound bow now, and I want those exploding arrow tips too. You know what I mean? So coming back into that, it was almost like relearning, right? Like kind of this big curve. And I'd said, I really wanted the meat, but more importantly, I wanted my kids, because I kind of did a deep dive on it with myself, and you kind of do this once you have kids, and you guys can attest to this. It's like, how do I want to raise them? How do I want them to grow up? And it wasn't on the Strand at Hermosa Beach, hanging out with the other kids on the pier, smoking pot. I was like, I need to get them back to like some sort of, a little bit of country living, like kind of how I grew up, like playing in the mountains. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we left LA and we thought Texas might be the spot. Oof. And we spent a year outside of Dallas, which I have nothing against Texas or Texans. We have a ton of Texans that listen to this thing. I think they're amazing people. I think it's an amazing state. But for me, like what I didn't realize, like I always lived here or in LA. So I always had the beach to go run on. There's so many national parks and open space parks in California. It's amazing, right? When it comes to that. Even if you're living in a city, there's still like, I used to go run around like Palos Verdes, and like there's mountains there that you can go and like, or cliffs or ocean cliffs or all kinds of stuff that you can do to just be outside and recreate. And then growing up here, I didn't realize how good we had it with just all the
public land.
And not only that, when I grew up here, it was a little bit different. Like people didn't really care as long as you weren't damaging their property. If you were a kid, like you kind of had free reign. Like you could cross across private property as long as you weren't like poaching or doing anything illegal or harming anything or trying,
Oh yeah.
It's just totally different now.
My grandparents had a cabin up in Evergreen off of Brook Forest, and we had an acre, and then behind us was like a person who had 500 acres. We used to run up there. We knew landmarks and everything up there. One day, some dude came down with a shotgun. The land had been sold. Well, he did not want anyone on his property, and we were frickin' running around. We were, I think, 9 or 10, and this dude frickin' pulled a shotgun on us. He's like, "Get off my land!" It's like, what? Like we'd been doing this for years.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, you talk to people that own like property next to national forests, like some of our mutual friends. I won't say who. They have people on their property all the time, like trying to camp and like starting fires, and we all know what's going on. I mean, I really think that that's why some of the shit is happening in California right now. Is like You look at the homeless situation there, and it's not in good shape, and like it's such an expensive place to live, and people are just trying to get by. And then you look at the fire danger, like where,
Yeah, but it's one thing to be camping on somebody's property. It's another
Right.
thing when it's like, oh, they're 10 and 11-year-old kids.
right, they're
around,
just
Yeah,
out
yeah.
playing, or it's
hiking
different.
around.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, we have homeless people here in Evergreen now. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, I never saw that when I was a kid. I mean, there's plenty of people that looked homeless when I was growing up here, but they weren't like
Yeah.
on the streets. And I see guys like on the streets here. I'm like, this is shocking to me, especially at this time of year.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It's been cold
It's
this
like,
week,
how
too.
are you surviving? But yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's everywhere, man. I just think people are hurting in general. But that was another reason that I kind of wanted to leave LA. There was always that fear, like once the kids were born, because my first two were born in Torrance, California, was the closest hospital to Hermosa Beach or Redondo Beach. And, you're just kind of like there's a lot of city you got to go through. If something bad is happening, like a fire or some sort of riots or anything like that, good luck, man. You need a fucking helicopter to leave that city, especially if you're living on the coast, dude. There's a lot of city you have to go through to even get close to a desert,
I mean, the gridlock is nuts, just regular, let alone
Right.
when there's an emergency.
Yeah. So anyways, moved to Texas, quickly found out that, I thought about hunting there. I was like, maybe I'll get into like doing some whitetail or something. I start looking up hunting regulations. You can get licenses like no tomorrow.
But
Public
you have
land.
to have land.
Holy shit, dude. Like, and I didn't know anybody, and it's like tied to that good old boy kind of circuit there, I was like, where are you from, motherfucker? Like type of mentality. Oh, California? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I would have
So-
just claimed Colorado.
Yeah. Well, originally I was going to go to, we were going to move to Austin, but there's a whole backstory behind that I won't even get into. But we ended up outside of Dallas for some business purposes for my wife and some stuff that she was trying to do, and it didn't work out. But anyways, we were there about a year, and it was a great spot, great people. But one night I was laying in bed, and I was just like, "Do you like it here?" She's like, "Not really." I was like, well, "What the fuck are we doing?" I was like, I literally got out of bed, got on a plane, in the house that we live in now, I put an offer in on that. Flew here the next day, put an offer on the house, and we were moving, like, sold our house there, and we moved in within like 3 weeks of like me getting out of bed and getting on an airplane.
That's awesome.
So it's pretty badass. And then, my family just runs deep. All my families here, like, have been here for generations. So that sort of connection, my kids had visited here multiple times because we would come once or twice a year, and they loved being in the mountains. And it's like, the other thing too that I really noticed there is, like, in our backyard in Texas, we had this beautiful house, big backyard, full privacy fence, kind of on this, like, not too far from a creek, but like, you couldn't just let the kids go out and play in the backyard. There's fucking scorpions and spiders and
Snakes.
fucking snakes, and they're all fucking poisonous, tarantulas, and like, just crazy shit. I was still like, go play, you know what I mean? Like, go be a kid. But then they're trying to like play in the dirt with like trucks or truck, and it's just mud, So you're like, there's something different about like the dirt here in the Rocky Mountains, man. There's no dirt like this dirt, man. It's like clean dirt or something. There. It's like,
it's mountain dirt.
yeah,
See, I've only ever lived in Colorado, so I
yeah.
couldn't tell you.
Yeah, you would experience it like even in Florida. It's like different than sand, Like, it's just like, don't get me wrong, the beach is amazing. Like, Texas is amazing. There's some beautiful spots, but it's just different than Colorado. And growing up here, I wanted my kids to experience the same thing. I wanted my kid to be able to go and dig a hole, and then the next day go out and play in it, and there not be full of like spiders and fucking water moccasins and shit, dude. Like, it was just foreign to me. It was just very different type of living. And then I think what really set it home too is like the first winter that we experienced there. I'm not even going to say this on the air, but like, it was worse than living here because it was like ice storms, and it's just like you have that humidity. It just seems colder. And So anyways, a bunch of different reasons I came back. And as soon as I came back, my fondest memories are elk hunting and like calling for elk. And my uncles were such, and I didn't grow up with a dad. So my grandfather and my uncles kind of raised me, or were those father figures for me. And they were all bow hunters. And they all loved to call elk so much that they would go out and we would call elk, here in Evergreen or Conifer, back when you could go on people's property and they didn't care. And just mess around, not even hunting, just
seeing if you could get them to come in,
calling them in,
come on in,
call them in, and I fell in love with that, and it's something that is like an elk bugle. I just get so excited, even at 3:00 in the morning when it's waking me up here in my yard. I'm like, oh, I got to go look and see what bull that is. Yeah, it's so badass. It's really hard when you're like leaving here in September at like 3:00 in the morning and there's elk bugling everywhere and you have to drive an hour to go hunt. It's just different. Like my first elk that I ever killed was right here, so it's like, there's a lot of ties here. But anyways, I'm totally jabbering on now, but, I wanted my kids to experience that. Cause when I got into deep thought, I was like, nothing put a value on life more for me than taking a big game animal. And I don't know if it was how I was raised. Like I was always kind of raised to like honor the hunt, take as much of the meat as you can, take everything that you can from that animal, utilize it, be super clean with it, be respectful of it. Like, just my family's not really like a grip and grin type family. Some of them have some taxidermy, but for the most part, they're just hunters.
In the freezer.
Yeah, it's in the freezer. Utilizing the antlers to make cool shit. They're all some sort of like craftsmen, whether it was making blade handles or gates or like all kinds of different stuff. And then they were such fanatics that they would like shed hunt and just, the full aspects of it, and fly fish and fish in general and just stuff like that. So it was like, I learned so many values as a kid, on life and what a life means. Cause I don't think that there's, unless you've seen something die in front of you, I don't think you can really put a value on a life. And I wonder how many people have actually seen something die short, like something animal as big as them or bigger. And I think that it puts life in perspective, man. And it makes you appreciate food a little bit more, makes you not as wasteful, but then also the adversity that you face, man. Like I remember being on the sides of mountains, like crying, like I can't do this. And there was like, no, pick your shit up.
We still got to get to the truck one way or another.
Yeah. And those sort of lessons are like, they make you tougher in life, man. And they make you more humble and I think it makes you more compassionate. And people will turn around, and I think the biggest argument for anti-hunters is there's no compassion there, which I would say is,
it's 100% wrong.
It's 100% wrong. I think everybody that I've experienced, like, don't get me wrong, there's bad people in all things, but like, I think hunters are some of the most grounded, compassionate, least toxic people that I know because of what they experience. And like, unless you've experienced it yourself, you don't know when somebody calls me and says, hey, how'd your hunting season go? I'm like, I struck out on elk, which is most of the time. And then I'm like, how's yours? They're like, oh man, I shot this bull. And like, you start hearing the story. Unless you've done that, there's no perspective to it. Like, I've had so many people reach out to me and like, yo, I want to put some meat in my freezer. I'm going to get a bow this year and we'll just go and just get some meat. I'm pretty successful. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, if you're doing it just for the meat and you're trying to save some money, you're in the wrong fucking sport, man. Because you look at that price per pound by the time you put gas in your truck, take time off of work, buy a bow, you start adding all that up, man.
It gets expensive.
Yeah.
It's no joke, definitely.
Yeah. So anyways, that was kind of like the philosophy for coming back here is I wanted my kids to experience that. That's what got me back into bow hunting. But, you asked me what my mantra was. This is a long ways around it.
So your mantra?
So anyways, getting back into archery, I started shooting and I just started punching the trigger, man. I didn't really have, I had uncles and stuff, but they didn't, I don't know that they were shooting back tension. They're kind of all kind of quirky in their own ways and like badass hunters, but like from an archery standpoint and what you're actually supposed to do,
They're not pure archers.
they're crazy. They are crazy accurate though. At whatever system they have set up in their brains, and they're the type of guys that like, you can't fucking tell me what to do. I've been doing this for years, and they literally have.
And it works.
And it works, and they can outshoot me. I've seen them take crazy shots, you know.
Doesn't
like,
take much.
yeah, publicly. So I quickly, with that learning curve, I was having all kinds of trouble. Like, just tons of trouble. And the first person that I went to go see when I moved back was Tom Klum. And I bought a bow from him, and I bought a bow for my son. And I think Tom sold me several bows when I was little. And I don't know if he remembers that, but like, when they first opened, like my uncles all wrestled in high school, you know, they're a wrestling family. So there was like that sort of connection, right? So like Tom knows all of my family pretty much. And I think they've spent all of their paychecks at Rocky Mountain Specialty Gear for a long time, you know, or a majority of their paychecks. So anyways, I immediately having him in my corner. And then I started, you know, when you shoot in there, you sometimes get some coaching that you don't even ask for, which is amazing. But I was just like all over the place. And I'm a very much, I set limits on myself when I'm hunting. I was like, there's no way I can be successful at 20 yards on elk. Like,
Which is now short.
I'm a big guy, dude. Yeah. But anyways, I was like, I needed to like dial this in, and I couldn't like, I was shooting a lot of different bows, and the technology had changed so much. And like, I didn't put the time in. And then I picked up a bunch of bad habits, and then going to see Tom, I had to relearn through shooting back tension, and went through a bunch of different releases. And he taught me a mantra, and I've kind of come up with it on my own. But anyways, it's like, it's kind of the shot sequence. So it's first, you know, line up the pin, you know, on the target, level my bubble. I know.
So you are literally that person who goes through every step, every mantra, every shot.
Every shot.
If you mess up, do you let down?
Oh, 100%. That's the hardest fucking thing to do. Not to the point, because there's times like where I've been putting hunting scenarios where you're holding for like a minute, minute and a half. Yeah. Well, that's the hardest part too. And like, it has made me more confident though, once I submitted to that mantra, I guess, in my shot, that I know that my arrows, like, I'm not going to have any trigger panic. I'm not going to have, I mean, you could still punch a trigger the way that I shoot. I'm not shooting on a hinge or something, but it has made me so much more confident in my shot. And because I don't know when the bow's going to break. I honestly don't. It's a surprise. And then it's just a matter of like, you know, Tom's next level. He's teaching like Jedi shit. He's like, just drive that arrow with your mind. Be looking where you want it to go, like, and it'll go there.
Yeah.
And it's fucking true, man. It's wild. The moment that you lose focus or you start looking at something else, sometimes my arrow will go there. I'm like, oh fuck, I was
right
looking
in the dirt.
Yeah. I was looking at that rock over there, like that tree, you know, like it's crazy. But anyways, long story short, the mantra is, you know, draw, level, sight picture, and then I'm also checking just kind of, I guess, wind at that point. And it's kind of an internal mantra, but when I actually go through my shot sequence, it's elbow up because I have a tendency to drop my elbow, and I don't get as much back tension if my elbows drop. So I have to, it's raise my elbow, and then it's honor the hunt, kill is what's in my mind.
Yeah.
And
nice. So you don't have a shot mantra, Scott?
Oh yeah, it's just I got this. That's all it is.
I mean,
I got to go through all these steps.
I got a shot sequence, but I guess maybe if I thought about it every shot a little more, I would shoot a little better. But yeah, I guess I have a little shot sequence.
Dude, it was so hard for me to learn and relearn, and then, but it's crazy. It's made me better to where I can set down my bow for a month and be gone. And like, within a couple days, I'm right back just to slamming.
Yeah. See, I think my problem is I can't put my bow down. I mean, every day I am like
That's so
at
good.
least 20 to 30 shots, like even if it's in the garage at like 10 yards just to get that shot process down.
Yeah. No, you kind of have to. I think I definitely would do that if I could travel with my bow more. It's the travel that fucks me up.
Yeah,
man.
totally.
Yeah.
Because you're like staying in a city in San Francisco, like, oh, here's my archery target, and like my pelican case.
Well, and it's not
and,
like it's easy to just fly with a bow.
Yeah. I mean, I do have a travel case. I've traveled with it before. Like, I know if I'm going to Vegas for an extended period of time, I have friends there that we go shoot 3D courses and we shoot. There's plenty of archery shops around there and like some awesome spots. You can just go out to the desert and drag your own target out there, And but I do travel. One thing that I do when I'm traveling like that, especially if it's anywhere close to hunting season, is I've just set up a piece of 550 cord with an arrow puller as like a rest, and I'm going through that shot sequence in a little. Is it serving or what do they
D-loop?
make D-loops
D-loop.
out of? Is it serving string? I don't know. Archery.
No,
This is where Aaron Schneider's crew starts picking me apart. This is why they don't listen to me, right? But anyways, it's set up with that. It's all tied up and it's perfectly set up for my draw length. And I'm just going through and I'll travel with my release, and I'm just going through my mantra and my shot sequence just to stay fresh, and 50 times a day or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, don't tell anybody, but I mean, I got an archery target right there. My bow's right there. Like, there's been days where I'm like, fuck, I don't have time but I'm going to throw 10 arrows or something this morning.
totally.
Like,
Yeah.
And make sure that I don't miss the target. Don't want any holes in the studio walls in here. So what are you shooting on, Dan, these days?
I shoot a Darton right now. It's like a Prelude 32.
Right on.
Really like it. It's a pretty solid bow.
Cool.
Yeah, I was in Texas early November and smoked a couple deer. It definitely did its job.
That's awesome. What I don't think that I've ever shot one of those. I've been a Matthews guy forever, and I just can't get away from it.
Darton's been around forever. From what I know, apparently a lot of the technology in bows right now comes from Darton's technology. And they just recently kind of started bumping up their game a bit. But I have a couple of Dartons, and I love them, man. They're great bows.
There's so many badass companies out there. I don't think that you can really buy a bad bow. I mean, I think the hard part is going to a good shop and having a good tech set it up.
I think that's important. Getting somebody, if you don't know, somebody that can really
Don't
help
just
you
go
out.
to Cabela's and be like,
No.
oh, that one looks cool.
or don't go on Facebook Marketplace and be like, there's cheap bows, because go somewhere where they can, walk you through the process.
Yeah, plus it's dangerous, man. Those things can fucking explode on you, man. Like if they're not
Set right.
set right, or if they're old, like you don't know what it's been through. Yeah, it's definitely an art. There's a whole nother art form to setting up a bow too. Like I've had Ed in, from Bear Creek, Ed Mayorga. He's a fucking awesome guy. He's become a friend, just from him setting up my bow and tuning my bow. And like, there's a true art form to that, man, to really know what you're doing. Cause I've had guys screw up my bows too. Like,
Totally.
oh yeah, let me fix this, or this is fucked up. Or like, it was shooting fine before you touched it, like there's a lot of that. So you have to be careful kind of who you take it to and who sets it up for you.
That's funny. Ed does my bows.
Does he?
Yeah.
He's the man, dude. I love that guy.
Great kid, man.
Yeah.
Great kid.
He's awesome. I had him in on the podcast, and I had the best time with him, man. Like, we just sat here and smoked cigars and talked shit. And I think we were talking about nunchucks at one point. Like, it was like, wow. Yeah, it was wild, man. He's a good
Bobby
dude.
went off the rails.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was a good time. There might have been some tequila involved, but yeah, it was a good time, man. He's a super good dude. I can't wait to have him back too. I think he's a member at American Bowman as well, isn't he?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I got to ask you off the mic. I don't know that is renewals come up yet?
No, it hasn't. We just had
Okay.
a meeting, and those will be going out probably in the next month or
It's
so.
the only thing I'm worried about renewing. My license, all that other shit.
Get that American Bowman renewal.
Got to make sure I know the gate code.
If you're not checking out the Mountainside Podcast on YouTube, you absolutely should be. If you like the content that we create here and you want to help support the podcast, please take a moment, subscribe to us on YouTube, and hit that notification bell.
Dan, what was kind of your like lead into archery? And like you grew up here in Colorado as
Yeah,
well,
I'm
right?
from
Like
Eastern
I don't
Colorado.
know much of your backstory.
Yeah, I'm from
so-
La Junta, man, Eastern Colorado.
Really?
Yeah,
Shout out. Let's go.
I grew up
L-Town.
Yeah, man, bunch of tough kids out there, man.
There
That's
is,
it. Like
yeah.
we grew up nothing to do, so good at sports.
Yeah.
But man, I grew up. My dad was a big hunter. My brother, he's he lives up here in Evergreen. He's still a big hunter.
Oh, right on.
Master fly fisherman, that dude. But yeah, we just grew up hunting, and honestly, like we had said, like man, I got into Rambo.
Yeah.
I love the Rambo movies. My brother was in the military. I remember going to visit him. He was in leave in Indiana, and we went to an archery shop, and that was the first time he shot a compound bow. And other than like that string hitting my forearm, oh man, I was like, well, that hurt. But this is cool. And I kind of fell in love with it a little bit then. And honestly, like my dad passed away when I was 17, and I've kind of just got out of hunting. We moved to Texas, and I just kind of, same thing as you, I just kind of left it alone. My kids were growing up, and I wanted to focus on them. And we moved back to Denver in like 2002. And then shortly after that, I was like, man, I want to start hunting again. I'm back in Colorado. My brother was still living in Texas, and I was like, I'm going to dive into it again, and just bought a bow and just started elk hunting again. And
I get it, man. Like I don't hunt outside of the state, honestly. I don't think I'll ever leave.
Other than hunting in Texas this last year, and that's
Yeah.
because like my best friend, his uncle had some property, and I was like, let's go. I love Colorado. Just growing up elk hunting and stuff, and I got back into it and just deep dive and just fell in love with it again, and eventually found American Bowman. And shout out to Luke again, Luke Cadillo, because I was at TAC, ran into him and was chatting with him, and he was like, dude, you should check out American Bowman. And then I shortly after that emailed him. Scott got back to me, and I was like, this is where I want to be. I love this. I'm all about this. And
Now you're the freaking president.
it's crazy.
dog.
Yeah, I was just going to say, man, I'm so blessed to just be a part of it and to be the president, man, get all the support I've got over the last 2 years. And it has been amazing. I love shooting a bow. I just love the community of it. And one of my favorite things is, man, all the older guys out there, like the guys have been in the club forever.
Yeah.
Just chatting with them and chopping it up and hearing them joke around and just their stories. It just brings back memories, and it's great, man. Makes me feel kind of, I don't know. I can't explain.
It's like the cool guy club, I think.
It is, man. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
There are some killers in that club.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah. So some of those older guys are like, they're the first to do it. They're just silent assassins. They keep quiet about it. But man, to hear some of those stories I've heard from like Larry and like, oh man, they're just unbelievable.
That's so badass, man. Like having that around too is so cool, man. There's nothing cooler than like an old guy story.
Yeah.
And the ones you got to pry out of him, like I think that's one thing that I love about Tom, like when I was diving back in archery, I was like, do I want to go traditional or do I want to go back to the compound? And I started talking to Tom about it, and he sat me down like behind the counter. It was a quiet day at Rocky Mountain, which good luck finding a quiet day there. Fuck, dude. I don't know. I lucked out. Like I went in a snowstorm, and he's like, well, come hang out. And we were like sitting in office chairs. Like we should have recorded that conversation because
Oh, it would have been epic.
it was literally like 2.5 hours of him breaking down like, fucking all kinds of
differences.
stuff and telling me stories, and then like me picking his brain being long before I was podcasting, like, oh, tell me about this bull, or how did, tell me this story. It's like, it's so cool, man. Like those stories, like from your grandfather, your uncles, or your dads, like it's something that resonates forever, man. That's what I love about podcasting too, is it's archivable. Like I could only imagine listening to like my great grandfather's stories or something like that. I think it's so cool.
right?
Yeah. I mean, I have stories of them, but it's just a small piece of the picture, small thing. What's the wildest thing that's ever happened to you hunting, Dan?
Wildest thing. This is a good one, man. Me and my buddy, we were kind of headed to our spot, per se. Drove by a truck. There was a dude in it. He had no shirt on. He looked kind of disoriented, We were like, that looked weird, man. We drove back, and then to get to this spot, you have to get on this little one-track road, and I mean, it is rough. Put it in four-wheel drive. It takes you pretty deep back. We go back to this spot and just start getting our bows out and start getting stuff together, and my buddy goes, yo, Dan, there's that dude in that truck coming up the hill. And I was like, what? And just, just to be safe, I was like, I'm going to grab my gun. I don't know what's going on. And he jumps out of the truck and he's like, what's up, boys? I'm Rambo Rod. And
Back to Rambo.
dude, he just went on this story about how he killed the herd bull. And if we see the herd bull, like, here's his number. And it just went from this weird, like, what's going on here, to Rambo Rod telling us about the herd bull. And then on top of that, he's like, guys, I got a tree stand over here. It was crazy because, you don't tell people where you're.
Yeah.
He pulled up on X. He's like, let me show you where my tree stands are. And we went to his tree stand. I was like, wow, man, this is nuts. But I would say that's like Rambo Rod, man, I'll never forget Rambo
We need
Rod.
to get him on the podcast.
The
dude.
funny thing
Right?
is I got his number, and so he's an insurance agent or something. He gave me his card, man. He's like, oh, you need insurance, man, hit me up. And it was just so weird, but he had my cell phone number, and he just randomly, hey, bro, did you find that herd elk? And I was like, no, I never found your bull elk. And then like a week later, just 5 a.m, he sends me a video, and he's like, dude, they're screaming out here. And it's a video, and it's just dark, and you can just hear elk screaming. And he's like, I'm going to get one, Dan. I'll talk to you later. Just click. And I haven't heard from him in, 3 years now, but that was nuts, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about you, Scott?
I think one of the weirdest things I've walked up on, we were out in Wyoming antelope hunting, and it was a nasty, nasty storm. And these people had just left, and they freaking left all their meat, all the animal, everything, just sitting in the tent. We had rolled up on it and saw it, and I was like, what? Like, you packed up your truck, you took everything except for your tent and your animal.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's an emergency or something.
Yeah, but you
Like
wouldn't
maybe-
grab the meat.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even that being said,
Not
that's
if you're having a heart attack. Not
game
if you're
warden
dying,
shows up,
dude.
though, you're
Yeah,
good.
but you packed up everything else. Like,
Oh, right.
sleeping bag, all that was gone.
Oh,
So it was
yeah.
literally just the tent and the animal.
Yeah, that's some asshole.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like that was
crazy. That's a
that was
waste.
the weirdest thing that I've ever seen. We told the game warden about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I already know about that spot." He goes, "I'm waiting for those people to come back."
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, no, that's another misconception that we should make really clear on here, because we have a ton of people that don't listen to this podcast. Like, if you don't take the meat, or even if you take the meat and you throw it away, if you don't have it processed for human consumption, and even if you have it processed for human consumption and then you throw it in the trash, it's a crime.
Absolutely.
You will lose your hunting privileges. You'll get serious fines. You can end up in jail. Like it, and that's how it should fucking be, I think, too, man. Like,
Agreed.
100%, man.
Well,
Like, there's
especially-
nothing worse than wasting.
as much effort as you put into getting there.
Yeah.
Like this place was an hour drive back in there, so it's not like it
Wow.
was a short drive on an easy road. Like you intentionally left that.
yeah.
So that's, after all the time and you put into it, there's no way. I try to take everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you've done it multiple times, like you start to realize how fast it actually does go, and like, how much you enjoy sharing it, and then just all the other stuff, man. Like, there's just so many cool connections with it. Yeah, dude, I had kind of a crazy. This isn't the craziest thing the craziest thing that's happened to me was this fucking year.
Really?
Yeah, dude, I ran up on a cartel.
What?
Like, I don't know what was going on, but at one point there was an AKA platform that was pulled out. I was in my truck, and these guys weren't like far off the trail, and this was in Jefferson County,
Jeez.
like of all places. And these people were not from America, dude. 100%. Like their clothes that they were wearing were not from America, dude.
Wow.
Jeez.
And it was wild. Like I've told the story on here, and it takes like fucking an hour to tell the story, so I'm not going to tell it again. But yeah, basically I drove up. There was 2 lookout guys. I was on a 1-track trail. You know, it was really rough spot to get into. A ton of elk in there. I was having a blast in there with my brothers. Like spent years trying to draw this tag, and finally drew it this year as a group. So we were having ball back there, and I kind of got hemmed up this year between the podcast and everything else I had going on. I didn't get a whole lot of time to hunt. This was the last day, it was closing day of archery. And I was back there and just ran across these guys. I mean, I didn't see anybody else back there that day. And I don't know what was going on, if it was like a drug deal or arms trade. I have no idea, but I didn't stick around to fucking find out.
You
man.
just
ruined
turn
the day.
around and
Yeah.
hightail it out of there, basically.
Well, it was wild because at one point they were shooting too. So they were just like throwing bullets like down a ravine that I was in, like, which I had another plan. So it was kind of working out to my advantage. I was like, well, fuck, if there's any elk down there, they're not in there anymore. And it was funny. I was in that same spot, like maybe 5 or 6 days before this whole incident happened. And there was a sheriff patrolling back there with some dude in a polo shirt. So I'm assuming it was a federal agent or some sort of agent. If you're wearing a polo and not a vest or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
So I don't know what the fuck was going on, but it must be a recurring problem. As soon as I called the sheriff, they were all over it too. As soon as I got to cell phone service. So that was kind of a bummer. That was the wildest thing that's ever happened to me.
That's nuts.
Yeah, and at one point, the dude had an AK and was like postured, like watching me leave in my truck, like go down the trail. And I was
It's
like,
okay, I'm gone.
Fuck,
yeah, I
man,
was
that's
like,
crazy.
fuck, I'm not going back. Like, I was going to go to another spot because there was this one spot I wanted to go and hunt. But then I was like, man, if they see my truck, I don't want them to shoot my truck or break into my truck or anything, you know? So I was just like, fuck it, I'm out of here. So that was that was really disheartening. But one year, this was just a few years ago, me and my brother went in 2 days before the season actually opened to set up a camp, just get in there, chill out for a couple days. We'd both requested the time off of work. We're coming down the trail and we're hearing bulls bugle and just like there's other hunters in there and stuff, you know, getting set up, and like it's the calling before the storm, you know. It's a fucking awesome spot. We get to the spot in the trail where there's like you have to cross. It's like a little stream, but it just puddles up, you know. And it's just full of blood. And I'm like, oh, these motherfuckers poached up here. They had to have, like, I mean, just full of blood.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, I started getting so pissed. So we ended up calling the game warden. My brother ended up calling. Game warden comes up. He's like, take me to where it's at. End up going through all that. It was a bull moose that was shedding out of his velvet.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So this whole time, like all these hunters are running around the woods, like looking for like this poacher and like all this stuff. And then come to find out, one of the hunters came back with a photo like to our camp like the next day or something. He's like, yeah, it was this bull. He was down, huge bull.
Jeez.
But just coming out of the velvet, I guess it looked like a murder scene.
That's
It was
crazy.
crazy.
Wow.
Must have had some paddles on that side.
Yeah. The photo was insane, dude. And his velvet hanging off was just like as big as this table, man. It was awesome.
Dude, that is
Not
still,
quite this big, but
that is still one of the scariest animals to run into. I
Oh,
feel
yeah,
like.
definitely.
I tell you what, man, I've run into bears, lions, but a moose is the scariest thing that I've ran into. Especially like if you get in like moose country, like a lot of that country is thick and there's only certain ways that you can kind of get through it. Like when you start getting into like that
Especially
oak brush and
you.
stuff. Yeah.
I've watched one walk 10 yards in front of me, and he looked at me. I saw his hair stand up on his back. I was like, oh, this is the way I die. Took out my camera, started taking pictures.
Yeah.
So I was like, what else am I going to do? Like, at least somebody, if they find the camera, they'll know what happened.
Yeah.
So, and then he just started cruising back along. I was like, oh, sweet. But my friend looked at me because that was his first year hunting, and he goes, I thought you were getting your gun, and then all of a sudden I hear you taking pictures. I'm like, what? He's like, dude, we could have died. I'm like, yeah. What else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, even if you put a couple bullets in that thing, it's like good luck stopping it.
Exactly.
And it better be damn close, you know? Like
Yeah.
where I've run into situations is where they want to go the way that you're in their way, basically, right? And there's no like easy path out of it. Like,
No.
it's scary, man.
And they can
is.
walk over shit that I'm crawling over.
I swear to God that's all these Sasquatch sightings that you have, you know, around here.
Big moose.
It is, because it's crazy when you see something that's like 8 feet tall and it's completely black, like moving through the trees. Like instantly, I think Sasquatch, and then I'm like, oh, it's a fucking moose, you know?
Well, and it's just moving through effortlessly.
Yeah.
Just effortlessly.
They're so big, man. That is a big ass animal. And until you've got one on the ground too, you don't realize how big a moose is, man. It is.
I have not gotten one on the
massive.
ground. Hopefully here soon.
Yeah, I've got to help on a moose hunt, but that was it. So,
But I mean, I've been 10, 15, 20 yards away from them multiple different times. They're just gigantic.
it's crazy. It's probably because I don't have a tag for them, but I see more moose than I see elk during the hunting season. I run into them all the time, man. It's so cool. As like growing up here as a kid, like you guys know, I think I got a few years on both of you, but there was no moose.
I don't know.
Dan's deceptively.
Yeah, how old are you, Dan?
48.
Okay, yeah, dude. Finally, somebody that's older than me. I'll be 45 in March, man.
Okay,
which is
okay.
crazy. So not too far, but we grew up in the same area.
Yeah, definitely.
The Sublime era, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go. Yeah, man. They're just fucking awesome creatures. So, like, I don't know. Were you big into being in the backcountry and stuff when you were a kid? And
A little bit, like growing. That's what I couldn't wait for, just go big game hunting with my dad. You know, when I was 14, I was like, yes. You know, and from then on, as much as I could
yeah,
while it lasted.
but I never saw a moose when I was a kid. Like, you never saw them. Like, I don't even think they started reintroducing them until. Sorry, you might have to look that up when they started to reintroduce.
Yeah, I wonder because I never saw moose as a kid.
Shiras moose that we have here? I can't remember what. There's some sort of species of.
I don't feel like it's a Shiras.
Okay. Maybe those are the ones. Dude, have you ever seen moose in Alaska?
I've heard they're massive.
Monstrous.
They are so much bigger than what we have
Monstrous,
here, dude. Like,
yeah.
massive.
I feel like it was 1930s, 1940s when we started the reintroduction.
Really?
But you got to remember that reintroduction was such a small
1978.
78.
Okay,
So
Wow.
no, it was.
Yeah. Man, it's crazy how well they've done here and how it's an awesome, man. It's a perfect habitat. I enjoy having them here. Like, it's cool. It's a
It
cool
is.
animal.
As long as you don't run into them at the wrong time, you're good.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. There's a lot of like snowmobilers, especially like skiers. Have you ever seen the footage of like them chasing people at Breckenridge and shit down the mountain while
Yeah,
they're skiing?
on the slopes.
See if you can Google some of that too. It's wild, dude. Like people will just be like skiing and this moose is fucking running down the slopes, dude. Like, it's pretty wild.
Well, they've got to be fast, as big as they are.
Oh man,
I always feel like, what's the pass just going up 285 here?
Kenosha.
Kenosha, there's always some. There's always
Yeah.
like I feel like I see them a lot.
The
up
biggest moose I've seen was back there this year in the state. Like, I mean,
there. Huge.
the biggest bull I've ever seen.
Wow.
In the state of Colorado. I mean, there's still nothing like those Alaska moose are just so fucking big, dude.
Oh, come on.
All that YouTube money we're making you think we could afford
God, look at that
premium.
beast. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy too because, you know, so we have so much tourism and stuff too. I guess a big problem is people start feeding them too, so they start getting
More
habituated
aggressive.
to people, and then oh, dude, they're so fast, man. Well, I think the last time you were in, we had a clip go viral because we showed like there was two moose like fighting in Steamboat,
Oh, was that the moose or was that the elk in the back of the truck?
In that
It
guy's
was a moose, yeah.
front yard, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, it was like in his driveway or something, just like totally trashing these two
going
like
to
brand new
work.
pickups, dude. Like mirrors flying off, windows being broken, like bulls in the rut. It was awesome. I love seeing a little bit of destruction, especially.
yeah, you can't beat that.
Have you guys experienced any predators in the backcountry? Any bow hunt? Like I tend to get them when I'm calling, and it's mostly on like the west slope, not so much front range, but.
I've had some bears, but
I was gonna say I've ran into 2 bears, and they just kind of kept going. They didn't really bug me, nothing other than that. Nothing.
It's mostly bears for me. I've only seen 2 lions like in the wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, without, like purposely trying to hunt them. Oh, look at this. God. Inside edition. Moose goes crazy.
He's just tearing
Dude,
down
he
the
is
blues.
just like pick a skier. Look, there's like 7 or 8 of them on the slope. This is another reason why I don't ski in Colorado anymore. Look at all those people, man.
Yeah, man. That's something you have to do on the weekday for
Yeah.
sure.
just
Dude,
how fast
man.
they are.
This guy. These dudes look like they're from Germany or something, man. It's so funny. Wow.
It's not even a big moose either.
No. One of the craziest things I've ever experienced is I hit an elk on a motorcycle, on a dirt bike.
Wow.
It was at night, didn't see it, like ran off an embankment and just
How bad did that fuck you up?
it fucked my bike up. I landed on top of the cow when it all went down. And then she got up and stepped on me. So, like, she was fine, like totally fine, but the bike was totaled. So luckily, like, she broke me from just, being on asphalt.
Oh, damn.
But it was wild. Those dirt bikes are like, they're not meant to be on the street. They're not meant to be ridden at night. Like the little bullshit headlights that the conversion kits. And I mean, I'm sure it's gotten better now, but like, dude, you can't see anything hardly. And like, it's just blind faith at that point. If there's no full moon or something, you're screwed. You're not seeing anything come out of your peripheral. And then, of course, you're riding in the helmet and sunglasses or something. So like, you're squinting your eyes because of the wind. Like, I don't know. There's a reason why I don't ride motorcycles anymore.
Yeah.
I think motorcycles and wildlife are a fucking problem.
That's a sketchy one for sure.
Both deer that I've hit have jumped over a guardrail up into my truck.
Wow.
Really?
Both have been right by what used to be the Come and Go, going up 285, right by Richmond Hill.
Which is a gas station, people. Calm down. Come on.
But yeah, they've both been up on that embankment. They've jumped over that guardrail right there, so I've had no time
That's
to react.
how this cow that I hit, I mean, it was just like, I saw her for like a split second, but it was just like that, oh shit, I swear there was a moment where we were looking at each other eye to eye, like, this is going to suck.
And that's all you had. You're like, oh.
But she came off of like probably a 12-foot bank. And I think probably what happened is she was up there feeding or something, and I startled her.
And she dropped down into
And
you.
she dropped down into me. So, like, I wasn't, I was like, there's a 10-foot bank here. I don't have to worry about anything.
Oh, see, mine was the other way. They were
Oh,
coming up
really?
it and jumped over that guardrail.
Oh,
and into my
that
truck.
happens all the time right here at the lake because it's super steep right there, and there's a guardrail, and they all like to cross
Pop
right
over
there.
and bat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, man, there's all kinds of crazy shit that they're doing here now because of that too. Like, I guess it's good, but like those huge signs, have you seen the signs that they put up? They put up like these electronic billboards, dude.
Oh, that are like caution, watch for wildlife.
Yeah. And then they have all these signs and stuff, but like people still don't. It's just like, pay attention. Try to pay attention. I'm pretty good. Like, I don't think I've hit anything in years, man.
Yeah, but there's some cases that there's no
You're
way
not going
you
to
can
avoid it, man. You're
avoid it.
living with wildlife. at
Especially
that
up
point.
here. It's everywhere.
It's like trying to save your windshield in Colorado. Dude, good luck, dude. Like, you're going to get a rock in it eventually. Like, there's no, especially if you're driving something that's lower than a, F-350.
It's going to hit.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know that those huge signs, and like, I don't even know how much money it costs. And then they have like these like smart cameras on them or some shit to like detect wildlife. Like,
It's a lot.
so they're automatic, you know, like, oh, watch out for the elk. So we're not discriminating what's an elk or a deer. You know what I mean? Like,
We know where they are.
it's wild, man.
Yeah, but around here, there's pretty much a herd that.
We have a
circles.
resident herd.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw him today. There was probably 100 elk
Wow.
at Elk Meadow. It's pretty cool.
Just hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're always. Ray practices at Stagecoach,
Okay.
and there were a couple nights where they were just hanging out right behind us.
I mean,
While
right
you're
here
practicing.
outside the studio, I've seen 350 bulls
Wow.
walk down Main Street like they're going to the
Wandering.
fucking ice cream shop, dude. Like they're going to Baskin Robbins.
Yeah,
And, like sometimes they're in their parking lot. Like it's wild, man. Like I've gone to the grocery store here and seen like probably $270. Like just hanging out in the parking lot. Like
It's the norm.
what are they doing, dude? They're like a couple high school kids, you know? So awesome. No, it's a special spot to live, man. It's so cool being around all that stuff. And like the elk here, I mean, you just in September, if you want to see elk, there's no place to get more up close and personal than like the golf course.
Then Estes Park.
I was
Yeah,
going to say, it's like a
Estes
mini
Park.
Estes.
It really
is.
Yeah. It is. That's so cool, man. Like I love being around it. I hope that doesn't change with the wolf reintroduction. Just I hope that they keep bugling and like because all that sort of stuff like that changes the way that animals behave when you throw an apex predator that hunts in a pack and stuff like that.
Oh,
like
totally.
you go to Wyoming to try to photograph elk or hunt, like they don't even bugle anymore.
Yeah, but it's been hard to see that up in that northwestern area a lot lately. They rarely bugle because I usually go up near Steamboat area, and it's been.
I think it's the
quiet,
hunting pressure
quiet.
too. Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
but
you
I'm-
get in some of
I'm
those
back
ga-
in. I'm 5 miles back in, and we usually don't run into people.
Yeah.
I think 2 years ago, last time we went there, we ran into 2 dudes, and that was it. And we were there for a week. So I don't know that it's the pressure side of things, but there's definitely predators out there. Like we were
Oh
seeing
yeah,
mountain lion
especially
tracks
north.
and
I mean,
things like that.
we had wolves way before they started reintegrating them into the landscape. Like we had them naturally come in from Wyoming, like
They
a
were-
lot.
Yeah.
They were looking at like the Yellowstone wolves are collared. There's one that was doing like a 200-mile loop. That was
it's
just dropping
crazy.
down into Colorado and going back up.
Just going to McDonald's, dude. Right? Have some food real
Yeah, let me
quick, dude.
grab some.
It's wild. My uncle, I have an uncle that lives in northern Montana, and when they started reintroducing wolves to like Glacier and stuff, I don't know if he was doing something where I think he was a brush pilot or something like that, or was getting his pilot's license, or it might have been a second story. But anyways, he got to talk to some of the biologists that were putting wolves on the ground that collared them. And I don't know if you've ever been in northern Montana at all, or like BC area. Dude, the mountains there are just different. They're glaciated peaks, so everything is just straight up, straight down, and it is like thick country. Like there's a lot of water there, so like the trees grow. Like it's just thicker than the forest in Colorado. Like we're kind of high plains, high desert, I guess, really. So there's not as much water here, but like the growth there is insane. And they dropped a wolf off, and within 2 days, I think it had done like 300 it was over 300 miles that it did like searching for a pack
Wow.
Jeez.
over glaciated peaks and stuff. So like
Yeah, they're nuts.
that's
man.
in like 2 or 3 days, man. That's so many miles.
Yeah. That's
So to put it in perspective, man, like you can drive to Cheyenne in 2 hours from here, right? Like you can be you can be in Wyoming in 2 hours from right here. So
yeah, but talking about on foot,
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, that's an extreme amount of miles.
Yeah. And they're so stealth too, man. Like I've gone to Wyoming to try to photograph them, like to Yellowstone. Good luck, dude.
Yeah, not happening.
Good luck, man. You'd be pressed to find. It's like trying to go find a mountain lion. Like I'm gonna go on a hike and find a mountain lion. Good luck. unless
Yeah.
you have dogs or
Yeah.
Snow,
yeah,
hopefully.
an outfitter with you. Yeah, good luck, man. There's a slim chance in hell you're going to see one in your lifetime. Like, I think.
That works for me because I do not want to run into any while I'm elk hunting.
Yeah, and if it, the other thing is you're not going to see them coming. They're going to be behind you, man. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing is you're going to run into them when you have that animal down.
Yeah.
That's when you're
exactly.
actually going to see
That's
them.
when it's
when
scary.
the only time that I have is cow calling.
Yeah.
Like they'll come in, especially if you start doing calf calls. That's
They're like, ooh,
that's a
dinner.
definite upping your
Yeah.
chances for predators.
Yeah.
For sure, especially that time of year, because all of them are trying to fatten up for winter, you know. So, yeah, I don't know. I think the bugling too. Like I've noticed, it used to seem like it started a lot earlier in the archery season. Now, like I don't even.
It's so sporadic.
I don't even.
It's sporadic.
Yeah, it's so
like,
weather dependent, right?
How much of that do you think is from bad bugling too?
Oh,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Because I've been out hunting and been like, what is that guy doing? Like,
Bro, everyone is an amazing bugler.
Yeah,
Yeah, what's been weird is like I've heard some horrible bugles and then saw the elk. I'm like, oh, you suck at it too.
they're also different, man. They have their own little like characteristics and tweaks to them. Like I'm so fortunate. Like I don't think people get up close and as personal with elk as me and my photographer buddies around here, because you can go out every morning, you can find them. There's a group of guys that go out. It's a small group.
hear him talking.
You hear them talking. We start getting to the point where you're seeing the same animal. So like
There's George.
or you recognize a bugle. Like they kind of have their like own voices, their own little quirks or whatever, you know. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like Sarah's been out with me before. I took Sarah out one morning. It was cool. But that's like every morning, man. Like for 2 months. It's awesome.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
And they still bugle here, and they still, you know, like they could give a fuck if there's a golfer 10 feet from them. They're going to bugle whenever they
Right.
want. Yeah.
Rip one off.
Yeah. So I don't know why that changes so much. If it's just the hunting pressure or if it's like.
Yeah,
that-
but they're so used to everything around here that's happening
Yeah.
that it's just normal everyday life.
Well, they know it's safe. Like for sure. Like I don't see that the big bull that's here, the one that I have the photographs of in the lobby in there. I don't know if you saw any of those. I think this year he was 10 by 9 by 10, something like that. Like just
Monster.
an anomaly, right? Like
Yeah.
just an incredibly old elk. I've called him King for years. Some of the other guys call him the big guy, but like I've called him King. It's the same elk. And you can mark your calendar on August like 27th to 28th, he shows up. And he's normally in my yard or within, 500 yards from my house. Like you can
Yeah.
literally like,
Wow.
I know on my calendar. And guess when archery season starts?
Yeah, he just hangs out all month.
Like he knows what's up, dude.
It's-
And then all of a sudden he disappears around third season. You don't see him in town anymore, dude. Like he's
Crazy.
not on the golf course. He's not at the high school hanging out on the football field. Like
Just gone.
just smart. Yeah. It's wild.
that's
Because
why he's been around so long.
I would love to know where he goes because I'd love to have a shed, like that'd be super cool. But man, it's just, I don't know. I think they're a lot smarter than we give them credit for, man. Like you do in general. Like
No,
they're smart
definitely.
animals. Me and Donnie were debating whether we were telepathically talking to animals. I don't think it's quite that far. He kind of took what I was saying out of context a little bit, but we got it figured out in here. It was awesome. But yeah, man, they are just like, it's so cool. Like I swear that they have had moments where there's elk that like to be photographed and there's elk that don't. Like, and you hang out with these animals long enough, you'll figure it out, man. It's kind of cool. There's this one bull here that I got to show you guys photos of. I call him the Terminator.
Damn.
He's blind in one eye, and he's either got a bullet wound or an arrow wound. And I've only caught him like, I think 4 years in here, like 4 different times. And there's been like a 2-year gap, and I'm always looking for him every year. He's just the coolest bull. He comes in literally for like 1 to 2 days. I've never seen him
gone.
consecutive days. Takes a couple cows and just leaves and dips. And he's so cool, man. I gotta see. Maybe I can airdrop these photos or something so we can pull this up. You guys need to take a break.
If you're not checking out the Mountainside Podcast on YouTube, you absolutely should be. If you like the content that we create here and you want to help support the podcast, please take a moment, subscribe to us on YouTube, and hit that notification bell.
All right, we're back. Better, Scott?
Better. Watch that.
As Jocko goes, go right through you, man. Shout out.
Right?
Yeah, they've been an awesome sponsor. Did it come through, Sarah?
Yeah, let's see here.
Okay, cool.
Try to see if I can get it open here.
Hopefully you airdrop the right stuff.
Yeah. Luckily, I don't do any of that gnarly stuff, you know? Oh, there we go. That's a nice muley.
That is.
Yeah.
Are these the ones?
Yeah. So scroll through. I didn't mean to send you the mule deer.
Way to go. See? Now we're getting pictures that weren't
I
meant
want
to
to
be.
see that. Oh, no. That's actually, go back to that one. Sarah, the previous one. That one is a good photo. That's that king bull, but that's from a few years ago. Sorry, go back one more. But he had just gored another bull right down here at the lake, so he had blood all over his antlers. It was kind of gnarly. I watched a bull kill another bull.
Really?
Yeah, right there. See all the blood on his antlers?
Damn, yeah.
On his tines? He's a cool bull. God, look at these photos. They're great.
Great photos.
Oh,
Damn.
There's
that's
the Terminator.
Wow.
So you can see why. And he is mean as shit, dude. He does not like his photo being taken. Like, look at him posturing it. That's him posturing at me. And
now, how's his other side? Has his other side got a similar hole, or?
I don't. Maybe we could see it in a photo. Look at that.
Man, that is a
that
mean
cool?
looking dude. Yeah, that
He is so awesome.
that
man.
left eye is crazy looking.
Yeah, he's blind in that eye because that's the only way I can sneak up on him.
That would definitely be a bull to get taxidermied, and you'd be like, you have to do something with this eye.
Yeah, but look at that hole in the
That
side of
hole
him.
is nuts.
And then it's crazy. It looks like something went like, I don't know if that's just, I don't know, man. He's cool,
If it's
man.
just the way his fur's laying, or if something
And just
happened
those,
down below.
man, look at those white tines and how dark his, you know this bull is living in a hole, man.
Yeah.
Like, but whoever shot him, I mean, it could have been another antler.
Well, see, there's the other side, kind
Yeah.
of, but I don't know if it's far enough back.
I mean, I
you'd
could
see
go
an
back
exit
in the
wound.
photos.
It's amazing how tough they are. How you see videos of like, broadheads coming out of their skulls and like embedded in their,
Oh, dude, they're
shoulders,
so
and,
tough,
and they're
man.
just running around with that. It's nuts.
It's unbelievable.
Man,
Yeah, isn't that cool though?
that is
That's my favorite photo, and those are the only photos I have of him.
Really?
Other than that, I've been too nervous. Like, and I'm
on.
shooting with a 500 mil lens, dude. Like, he is like,
So you're far
violent.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he still doesn't like.
still staring you down with one eye.
Yeah, I mean that I strategically this day went around him, and I maybe shot this at like 200 or 300 mil or something, but I purposely was sneaking up on him in the blind eye because I was like, oh, he can't see me, but he winded me or something. Like,
He's got you pegged right there.
Yeah, man, he's
super cool, man.
really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's-
And I think I'm the only guy. I've never sent, like, these ones are special to me. I've never sent these ones to Bugle or anything. Like, it's kind of cool. So, kind of keep them to myself and the homies.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty
So
cool.
the only way that
Until
you're going
now.
to see this is like go watch the podcast. If you screenshot this, I will sue the shit out of you. Like,
Well, you already got your watermark on
you
it.
can take
so-
the rest of the content and put it anywhere else, but you take these photos. I'm
Don't
gonna be
mess with the
pissed.
Terminator.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fun, man. I think I enjoy. I'm gonna get bashed by Scott, but I enjoy picking up the camera and going and photographing, like capturing those moments.
I don't know
are
if I can
fucking
bash you
cool.
for that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's
That-
awesome.
it's fun.
I do enjoy having a camera in my hand every once in a while.
Yeah.
Especially out in the middle of the woods. So
Yeah, it's hard to go do that in the middle of the woods. Honestly, it's even harder, man. Like, have you guys listened to? Do you listen to the podcast?
Here and there.
Yeah, definitely.
I had Jason Loftuson. Have you ever seen any of his stuff? I mean, I feel like I've shouted him out every podcast, but the fucking guy deserves it, dude. Pull up Untamed Images on Instagram, please, Sarah. This dude is the most amazing, like, it's cool. He's become a mentor to me in that photography space, but it's just the most unbelievable wildlife photographer you'll ever see, dude. And he travels all over the world doing it, and probably the most published wildlife photographer that I know. But look at some of these, dude. I mean, they're just
That buck
incredible.
is so freaking.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. This guy's he's a true, like, he's an outlier in this space, I think. And a lot of this comes down to like some of it's done in post, like what you do, like color correction wise and stuff like that. Which I think is a big part of it. But I think the coolest thing about him is like some wildlife photographers will go to like a preserve and shoot and that sort of thing. If he does anything like that, he'll tell you, like, this is truly wildlife being wild. Like, yeah. Whether it's on a golf course or not, like, but most of the stuff that he shot is, some of it's here in Colorado, but he lives in Utah and he always comes out here for the deer rut, which is cool, and he comes, all over the Rocky Mountains and shoots just amazing. Like, these are fucking amazing, dude.
Yeah,
like, if I could take a photo half as good as this, I'd be happy. He's got some really cool stuff, but he spends so much time out there too. And he's a hunter himself.
I was going to say, what a job, though, man. You got to love that,
Yeah.
Doing what you love, taking pictures. So amazing.
Yeah, he's a special human too, man. Just cool, dude. Like, salt the earth. It's cool. He puts like, he's such a purist that he'll put his camera settings. So if you go back to like one of his still photos, Sarah, and then go to one that has like multiple. Yeah. So like if you click on that and enlarge it, sometimes this thing has a little bit of a delay. Typically it's the ones he'll put his camera settings. So like what he shot at, how far away he was, what the focal point, like, it's kind of cool.
Wow.
So like you can learn from just, if you're a photography nerd, you can learn just by following this guy. Like,
There is so much to running a DSLR.
yeah,
Like, it is crazy.
it's next level. And once you get to this sort of level, to get these sort of photos with the light and all that sort of stuff, you can't be in auto. Like, the camera's not making.
Well, and you even look how good he is at getting everything in focus on a moving image like that.
Oh,
That's-
yeah. Our podcasts have been awesome, man, because we're just able to geek out on all this sort of stuff. It's just like archery, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's all about like your setup and how comfortable you are with it, and like how much time you spend with it, and have you shot. And it's like a lot of it comes down to that, like how often.
How long have
Yeah,
you been
sure.
doing photography?
Man, it was as long as I've been doing archery, really. I actually have done archery a little bit longer, but I picked it up because it was a passion of one of my uncles, same sort of thing, one of the mentors. But I started, I was fortunate enough at middle school, they offered photography as an elective.
Awesome.
And back then, I don't even think my kid gets to choose his electives now. Like, they're just like, it's like a lottery system or some shit.
Yeah. Like,
What the fuck?
So,
man?
I think
Why
it's-
is it even
I
an
think it's their
called an
first-
elective then?
I think it's their first year. They just kind of like try them all real quick. And then the way it made it sound is that their second year, they'll actually get to choose.
Yeah. He's like,
So-
Dad, I don't want to do home ec. It was good for him though. Like, the kid knows how to make toast, and that's it. Like, he's proud.
So now he
If
can
make-
actually make a couple things.
Oh yeah, he made some stuff at Christmas. He made like, I can't remember what it was. It was like, he called it sweetbread or something, but it was literally just the Pillsbury. This is no knock, Tyler, when you're listening to this later. You'll understand why. I love you, buddy. But it was like the Pillsbury, the cans that you break apart, like the
Yeah.
croissants, and he'd like put a marshmallow, sugar, and cinnamon in it or something. I was like,
All right.
yeah, but hey, as fuck, dude. That's hilarious, man. Like, But yeah, they offered photography. So I actually started in a dark room, which was cool, like developing
Like old school.
Yeah, so shooting on film, and then like putting in all the different bass, and then you're in the dark room. It was really cool class, man. I learned so much in there, and then I could never afford, even though DSLRs were starting to come onto the scene, like I could never afford one. So I shot on film forever. And then where I really picked it up, and when I started making money in rock and roll, I was touring the world. I could carry a camera everywhere with me. And then I made a little bit of money in rock and roll shooting bands and stuff too. So
Yeah.
so it's cool. It's made me some money,
Yeah, that's awesome.
The gear's so expensive, and it gets outdated so quickly that unless you're making a ton of money, it just kind of pays for itself. Like you're not really making money. It's like it's
fun.
the same thing as hunting. Like I just do it for the meat. Yeah, because it's cheaper than going to the grocery. Bullshit, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Yeah, but I was.
We don't do that math.
But it's super cool, man. That was what I would do on like my off days and stuff, is like go either photograph wildlife. So I've done it in like Brazil, and I got really into World War II history when I was over in Europe and stuff, and just like going around and photographing some of those spots in Europe are unbelievable. Sarah, if you go to Earth Iron Society, it should be earthironsociety.com is my photography website.
Selfish plug coming.
Yeah. Well, I got to show you some of this stuff. Like, dude, there's the photography made me understand history, and like I was pretty naive American, and until you've left the country and start experiencing some of these places and how old some of them are, and like buildings that remain standing through a war, like the amount of respect for that when the entire city was completely bombed.
Yeah.
Like bridges in the water, like. But what I really got into was the blacksmithing is so cool, because like that was made in, I think, somewhere 1300s or something. This is the Dom outside of Germany. And if you've ever blacksmith, you'll understand how much of an art that this is. But this entire gate that covers this amazing church that's got gargoyles and all kinds of like angels and demons all over it. It's just like amazing. But this is just the security gate for it.
Wow.
But if you look at that, those are solid pieces of steel that are woven in one another to make these fences and gates. I mean, you can spend, if you really want to geek out on stuff, you can spend hours just looking at that. And then that's not even the main building. That's just the gate. And like you see at the top, they made like poison ivy, and it's all steel,
How many times do you think you were sitting there staring at this gate, taking pictures of it, and somebody walked by and was like, really? Dude, like, look at the building behind you.
Yeah. Well, there's so many. I mean, it's so cool. Actually, Google the Dom in Cologne, Germany, Sarah. It's cool, dude. There's a mortar chunk out of this building is pristine, and there's just a giant chunk missing out of it where mortar like took out how would you like to be the guy that fucking shot that? You're like, he went
Bro,
down
you
his
hit that
history.
building.
Yeah, look at this place though, man. It's like something out of a fucking Walt Disney movie, or it's totally that.
Wow.
This place is unbelievable, man. It is.
So you had this place in front of you, and you were just sitting there taking pictures of the gate.
Go down a little bit, to that right where your cursor's at. See that bridge? There's a cool history. This is such a cool city, man. Like, the one with the bridge in it that has the arches. So during World War II, that bridge was completely underwater. Like they shot it out. So like because it was one of the only places to cross. So they've taken the original bridge and reconstructed it out of a lot of what they could salvage. So there's still like bullet holes in it and stuff. And then there's a really cool tradition. There's like a sidewalk that goes along this bridge, and there's all these master locks. And when you get engaged, you put a master lock on there and you throw your keys to it in the river, and it's like
You're going to be together forever.
You engrave it, and they have some that are like shaped like hearts. So this whole thing is just full of like these marriage vows as you walk down this thing. It's so cool. And then you're walking to that structure.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's unbelievable. And then when you get close up, like you can't really see it in my photos because I kind of focused on the blacksmithing, but there's just all kinds of gargoyles and just fucking unbelievable stuff on the side of this thing. Like, look at that. It's all stained glass. And that was made, God, probably 2,000 years ago, something like that. It's insane. It's so old.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
It's cool, man. That was the coolest thing about traveling is just like some of that history and being involved with that. And then like going to Norway and stuff and seeing just different like European, like the Swiss Alps or Northern Italy. It's just different,
Totally. I was in Italy in September for
Were
a
you?
week and man, blew my mind. Just
That's so cool.
all of that was just so cool.
Did you go to the Colosseum?
I
or
did.
any
We
of
went to
that?
the Colosseum, Naples, went to Mount Vesuvius. Just all of it blew my mind, man.
So
I've never
rad.
been out of the country, so that was
Oh,
other
really?
than like Mexico,
Right.
So that was just next level. Definitely humbling and just amazing.
Dude, it's so cool there, man. Like, Italy holds a special spot in my heart. I had no idea because I didn't really know my dad growing up, but apparently I'm 60% Italian, which explains why my love for pizza and pasta and all that sort of stuff, right? But it's just different over there, man. There's so much history there that's so cool. Like, did you guys go in the Colosseum?
Oh yeah, we
did the full tour.
all of it.
That's
And-
pretty
and
awesome.
Same thing. I came back and I've just been engulfed in like reading about it and just wanting to learn more about it, man. I was so blown away. The Colosseum was great. Just all of it.
Dude, I got the spot for you to go back. When you go back, if you guys go back, you have to put Verona, Italy
Verona.
on the booking. And it's quite a ways from Rome. But I mean, when you get over into Europe, you can be in like 3 different countries in a day, man. It's insane. But anyways, there's a place there, and you can actually go and see a concert there, if you look at the schedule. When I was on tour with the Killers, we played this spot, and it was the first time that I'd been there. But it's called the Arena, and it was built before the Colosseum. It was the first like gladiator like arena, and it's cool, man. You can go and see a concert there now. They have a whole like ground structure that they put inside of this place. Pull that up, Sarah, because it's pretty cool. And the people there are fucking incredible. The fans that show up, like, just shit that I've never seen at a concert before. Like,
Yeah.
What was that?
the Arena in Verona, Italy. But it's also where, like, Romeo and Juliet, if you believe that that was a true story, that's where it took place. So you can go to, like, Juliet's balcony and, like, it's a good spot to take the wife. Yeah, this place is fucking rad.
Wow.
So this is why they call arenas in the U.S. an arena, because this was the first spot, and this was built to watch people kill each other or a lion kill a
Yeah,
dude.
pretty
Like,
much.
it's so wild. So when you go down, when you're working there, we got to take a little tour of like underneath it is like animal cages and prison cells, and like it is eerie, man. It's definitely like that place has some history, bro.
This cage will be your dressing room.
Yeah. Well, and you're walking around and you're like, I wonder how many people died here. They publicly executed people there. It's crazy, man.
You know what was crazy out there was we went to one of the catacombs.
Yes.
It blew my mind. And it's just like we were talking to the tour guide and he was like, yeah, we get like 2,000 people a day, whereas like the Colosseum gets 40,000 people a day, more. The catacombs was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
There's some catacombs in France that are freaky, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's a straight up metal cover. I mean, they just ran out of spots to put bodies, so they started making
Just throwing people down in there.
Well, it was like art.
Yeah, it
So
was like
there's
mortared.
an entire wall, an entire tunnel that you walk through that's made out of human skulls that's underground. It is fucking. I thought it was really cool, but then you start thinking like each one of those was a life. Each one of those was a daughter or a son or a dad or what. I mean, it's
That's not fake. That's a real skull.
no, it's
Yeah.
real shit. And then it's crazy when you dive into the history of it. Like the people that gave us the tour were some locals, and then we kind of went during off. But there's a whole like underground, like city, like parties and shit that happen down there, like after hours. Like
Wow.
it is wild, dude. Yeah, dude. Like it's just a different part of the world. I think we're so naive to it here in America, and it took me a long time, like going there, 7 or 8 times to really realize it. Like you're sitting on a park bench that's older than our country. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And like in Ashbury Park or wherever, like it's unbelievable. Or like some of the music venues that they have out there. Like there's the Royal Albert Hall in London. That place is like, it's older than our country by like 5 times or something. I mean, it's like an indoor, beautiful, spot to see a concert. It's pretty cool. There's that sort of history we don't really have that we know of,
Yeah.
We have archaeological history, which I think is cool. Just as cool.
But we weren't civilized.
No.
So different. So different.
No, it's so different, man. Definitely Paleolithic. But I think like the oldest bar in America is only like a few hundred years old or something.
Yeah.
But you can go into like there's spots in Scotland's another fucking badass place. Like Edinburgh is unbelievable, man. There's like still like these castles and cobblestone streets, and you can go into this like there's this place called like the Tree Bar or some I forget what it is. But like Robin Hood was in there. That was his drinking spot. That's like,
Crazy.
like
The spot.
the Robin Hood,
That's
not like.
nuts.
So it's kind of wild, man. It's cool. And then you see like Stonehenge or something like that. And the craziest part about Stonehenge is like, I thought it was going to be like a touristy like type place, but it's literally like off the highway. Like it's like a truck stop or something. Dude. Like, nobody gives a fuck about it, dude. It's like everybody takes their pictures, facing the ocean or whatever. But like
The other way, it's just the highway.
because literally there's like a highway like right there, dude. It's insane. It's kind of like going to see Red Rocks or something. Yeah. It's cool. We have some cool natural stuff. Like a lot, I feel like a lot of that natural stuff that's over in Europe, I didn't really get to see, but probably because I was in bigger cities and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
South America is wild too. The Mayan ruins are fucking dope. That's another one to go. It's wild.
See, I've never even been out of the country.
Yeah. I don't blame you either, dude. Like I wouldn't go now.
No?
Like unless I had to. I would go back to Cape Town was really cool. I like South Africa. It's God's country, dude. I really think that man was like created there, dude. Like
So did you do most of this traveling, touring?
all with rock bands.
That's
yeah.
dope, man.
Yeah, I've never gone on a vacation to like out of the country. I don't think. Maybe to Mexico. But yeah, I would always like if a tour was ending in a certain spot, like South America, like there was times where I spent 2 weeks. I spent 2 weeks in Brazil just surfing. That was fucking amazing.
I bet, man.
Because we ended a tour there, and then I've done it a few times in Ireland. For some reason, we would end tours a lot in Ireland. So I spent a ton of time over there, and then Australia. Spent some awesome time there. New Zealand's fucking amazing. But I feel like I'm name dropping right now. But it's cool, man. I'm so fortunate that I got to do all that before I had kids, and like got to do it basically on somebody else's dime. I mean, those 2 weeks that I was staying, I had to come up with my own accommodations, but I was like, half the battle was like getting there, dude. And then like you meet so many like local people. I have friends from around the world now, which is so cool, just from touring and meeting people when you're staying in a city or something like that. It's kind of cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, make those connections.
Yeah, man. I think that I'd go do a red stag. Would be pretty dope,
I'd love
man.
to
Like
do
a New Zealand red stag.
Yeah,
Tom Klum had a nice red stag.
So
last
awesome,
year.
man. Dude, one of our new sponsors, shout out to ProTech. Fucking awesome. They make the best sunscreen. Like it's Navy SEAL owned. company or veteran-owned company. There's a bunch of different veterans involved, but I think a Navy SEAL is the main owner. And they make like hydration products. It's all like outdoor, like good stuff, man. But they're giving away, if you are listening to this in time, I think next week is the last week to get in on it. They're giving away a red stag hunt.
Oh, wow.
So we'll have links in the show notes or whatever. Go and check that out. And it's like
definitely.
they're giving away a half-face blade, a bow. Like they're covering.
Dang.
A lot of times when you win these hunts, you still have to go get your airfare or whatever, your lodging, or like this is 100% paid for, including your equipment, like whatever you need, and it's outfitted. Yeah, so it's cool. They're doing it right. That's how cool of a company that they are. They're
Sounds like it.
No, if we're gonna give something away, we're actually
Going
gonna give it
hard.
away. Like they're giving you a blade, everything, so you don't necessarily have to be a hunter to enter in this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're gonna be set up with all the shit to go do it. So super rad. I'm hoping I win.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're allowed,
buying
right?
shit. I'm buying shit left and right, dude. An entry is an entry, dude. I got so much sunscreen right now, bro. Between what they already gave me and like hydration stuff, I'm totally hydrated. Like I got the best sunscreen. My brain's functioning really well with all their supplements. Like it's fucking awesome. I'm gonna win. I know it. Well, shit. So what's coming up? We're going on 2 hours, so we're going to wrap this up here. But what's happening at American Bowman? What's like the next big event that the public could come out to, or if people wanted to travel in and
That is definitely
Check
a
it out.
Dan thing.
Let me pull out my schedule here.
you're checked out, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You're like Bill Clinton right now.
You're
Dude.
like-
Just like
So I'll run through the schedule real
sorry, I
quick.
hope that wasn't an insult.
April 26th, we're going to have a club shoot. That's open to the public. May 4th is our Colorado Traditional Archers Society shoot.
I won't be going to that.
You could. We could have this challenge.
May 17th is a new shoot. It's a veterans shoot. It's the Valor Archery Challenge.
Okay.
It's going to be pretty cool. We're going to have a lot of info coming out on that. Late May, I'm not sure what the date is, but we're doing the 4/8 youth shoot. June 7th and 8th, best of the best. Best of
go.
the best. Shout out to Luke and
Shout
Aaron
out
for
to our
bringing
neighbors.
it back. Yeah,
it's so
man.
crazy. Their podcast is literally like 15 minutes. from
That's
here.
awesome. That's awesome. We're so happy to have that back. That's such a fun event.
That's cool. I'm going to try to make it this year.
June 28th is our second annual American Bowman Shoot-Off. We're still looking for sponsors for that, so a little,
Okay.
July 26th, 27th is Western Hunt Fest. If you want to come pack out an elk, sign up for that.
That's a cool event. Like,
Oh, yeah.
We didn't really dive into that. When is that happening?
It's July 26th, 27th.
Would those dudes want to come on the podcast? Like, I'd like to
I'm sure
like
Jeff
maybe
and
have
Efren-
one of you
yeah.
guys back or something.
Jeff and Efren, those guys are awesome.
tell them to come like the week before or something. Let's get them in here.
Yeah.
Well, that would be cool.
They're just in the Springs.
Oh, they
They're
are?
not
Yeah.
that far.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that they were in Montana or some
No.
shit. Oh, okay.
They're
No, no,
they're
those are
local.
local boys.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck. Well,
local
let's get
guys.
them in here and we'll plug it, dude.
Yeah, I'll definitely message them, man. That'd be
Okay.
great. Those get really awesome guys.
Yeah.
August 2nd and 3rd is a women's event. It's the Uncharted Outdoors Women. They do
Oh,
they do a
sweet.
2-day thing and showing how to, everything. It's how to pack out, how to shoot a bow. It's great. Then October 4th is another American Bowman shoot, and that's open to the public. And that's it right now. We might add a few other things, but
Please don't, man. I like my private club. No, I'm just joking. Sounded like a snobby member now. But no, that's awesome, man. There's so much opportunity to go experience American Bowman and what it has to offer, man. Like, how do people, like that list that you just read off, is that on the website? And then how do people sign up? Is it like you just show up and pay, or do you have to pre-register? or
I'm
anything?
going to have our website, people upload all our new stuff because we checked earlier and it was still 2024 stuff. So
This won't come out for a couple days, so you might have some time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It'll be on our website. We're going to update that with all the bow club events and the other events, and it'll have all the links and all that jazz too.
You know what we'll do too? If you send me the list, I can put it, I'll definitely put a direct link in the show notes. So if you're listening to this right now, just open the show notes. You can go right to American Bowman's website, but we can also list in the show description that list of shows.
Okay,
or
cool.
shoots, rather, if you're interested. And great people, man. I love you guys. thanks for coming in, man. Like
yeah.
Scott, we got to get back out there. Dan, we definitely got to get on the range.
let's
We haven't
go,
shot
man.
together.
I'm super
You're gonna
competitive.
see
so
how
let's get it.
badass I am, dude. Hopefully, I got enough arrows. I got to make sure I got enough arrows to go shoot the range. But yeah, let's get up there. Let's do that. And then you guys are always welcome back here if you ever need any help plugging anything or anything.
Awesome.
Like I think it is one of my favorite spots on earth, and I would just name dropped a bunch that I've been, but like American Bowman's fucking rad.
Tight,
Let's
man.
go.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you later.
Awesome.
Sarah, thanks for
Thank you,
being
man.
here. It's great having you back. I didn't even get to give you a shout out, so here it is. Sarah's back in the studio. So all you people that message me all the time, like, why'd you fire Sarah? And like, no, she's back, people. So
She's
Thanks,
here.
relax.
Sarah. Thanks, Sarah.
Everybody loves you. All right. Thank you guys for listening. I'm happy to bring in the new year with two amazing people. So thank you guys again, too.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks for listening to the Mountainside Podcast. If you haven't had a chance to do this already, please take a moment, follow, like, subscribe, or rate on whatever platform you catch the Mountainside Podcast at. If you'd like some more information on upcoming episodes, safety tips, access to all of our affiliates, and all the badass discounts that we get here at the Mountainside Podcast, check out themountainsidepodcast.com.